Okay, in celebration of the centennial of Port Moody, the Wearable Art Awards Committee invited mayors and former mayors from the surrounding region to join Port Moody in the special celebration of our history by designing and modeling a hat to wear on our red carpet. As you heard Ann Kitching mention earlier, there is a prize for the best hat, a beautiful clay vase donated by local potter Jacques Sheridan. But, as we all heard Mayor Clay say, he has upped the ante by throwing in a dinner for the winning hats, which will be worn by none other than the mayor himself for the first part of the evening. Now, of course, if Mayor Clay wins, he won't need to subject himself to that public display. So let's see which hat you decide is the winner. Remember, the loudest display of clapping and cheering will decide it. Members of the jury, are you ready? I will need to confer with you later. So let's bring them out and see their magnificent creations. First up, we have Mayor Heather Anderson of the Village of Anmore. Next, we have Mayor Ralph Drew of Belcarra. Mayor Richard Stewart of Coquitlam. From our historical roots to today's diverse community, this piece symbolizes the cultural heritage of our two cities. The hat was designed and made by Richard Stewart and his family. Next is Greg Moore of Port Coquitlam. When Mayor Greg Moore was asked to participate in this year's Mayor's Hat Challenge, he wanted the hat to commemorate Port Coquitlam's 100th birthday on March 7th. He also wanted the hat to be reflective of their city's community spirit and Poco pride. So when he approached the students at Riverside Secondary School with the idea, he was very pleased to hear that they were interested in participating in the project. On behalf of Mayor Moore and the City of Port Coquitlam, please join us in recognizing the art students from Riverside Secondary School for their contributions, and an extra special thanks to the hat's designer and project leader who is here with us this evening, Janet Truong. Next is Mayor Mike Clay of Port Moody. This lovely purple top hat is a reflection of Port Moody, which first noted the purple and gold colors used, reflecting the colors of the Port Moody Centennial. Of course, the other pieces on the hat are in celebration of this auspicious event. The gold wire wrap of the hat goes from the blue sea sky to the sky and showcases what makes Port Moody special. The boat sailing on Burrard Inlet, the mountains rising majestically from the sea, and the first locomotive pulling into Port Moody on the completion of its historic Trans-Canada journey to tell our story. Dr. Hal Weinberg, former Anmore mayor, will be wearing a sparkling homage to the rural background of his small village. His hat includes a village symbol and the hummingbird, as well as a compass to guide him through Bunsen trails, and a nod to horses, bears, and a fantastic volunteer fire department. Mr. David Driscoll, former mayor of Port Moody. Port Moody, 100 years, proud and pretty. The basic structure of the hat represents the former style, which was popular at the tail end of the Edwardian era, thus the 100-year celebration. The wooden feathers are made from a tree which was previously on the North Shore. They represent our logging and sawmill history, and don't forget to come out to the Art Center's Celebration of Wood this July. Mr. John Northey, former mayor of Port Moody. A fantasy replica of Port Moody's first train, complete with light and sound, a tender rail car right through the caboose. It is Port Moody incarnate with several items which represent the city. Listen for the whistle, the bells, and the choo-choo. MLA Joe Trasolini, former mayor of Port Moody. Current MLA and former Port Moody Mayor Joe Trasolini is honored to wear the hat created for him by the following youth who are part of Pocomo Youth Services Youth Action Team. Nora Archahasty, grade 9 student from Glen Eagle Secondary. Paige Morris, grade 12 student from Cabe Secondary. Jesse Stoos, grade 10 student from Cabe Secondary. Micheline Chouinard, grade 12 student from Cabe Secondary. And Corey Archer, who coordinated their events. So you've all seen the hats, and I will go through the names again. And when you hear the name of the hat that you like the most, I need you to yell as loud as you can. Clap and cheer and hoot and holler. Are we ready? Okay, for our first contestant, Heather Anderson of the Village of Anmore. All right, our second contestant, Mayor Ralph Drew of Belcarra. Mayor Richard Stewart of Coquitlam. Oh, wow. Mayor Greg Moore from Port Coquitlam. Mayor Mike Clay of Port Moody. Dr. Hal Weinberg, former Anmore Mayor. Mr. David Driscoll, the former Mayor of Port Moody. John Northey, former Mayor of Port Moody. MLA Joe Trasolini, former Mayor of Port Moody. This is your last one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that we have a tie, so I'm going to need your participation once more. Our first contender is Rich Stewart. Rich Stewart, if you could come forward again for more applause. And Mr. Joe Trasolini, if you could step forward for a second round of applause. He's certainly a Mad Hatter. And our beautiful prize, this lovely ceramic vase, goes to both Rich Stewart and Joe Trasolini. It remained a tie. You guys were very enthusiastic about both hats. All right, thanks everybody. If we could take our seats, we'd like to begin again with the fashion or the art show. And let's give all of our participating former and current mayors a huge round of applause. Everybody rose to the challenge, and we thank you.